Alright, welcome back everybody. We're gonna talk about Stats of a Storm being implemented directly into your Soothsayer OBS setup. And I'm gonna demonstrate to you really quickly how this is gonna look like, and then we're gonna talk about how to make that happen. So first off, you want to make sure that Stats of a Storm, the program, is closed. You cannot run two instances of it at the same time. So if it is open right now, you want to close it. And then if you have not already done so, you should start Soothsayer. So if you are on Soothsayer, the first thing we need to do is we need to point it to Stats of the Storm. So you just go to Settings and scroll all the way down to Stats Source. And that's usually on No Stats Source like this. And you're gonna go and use Stats of the Storm. Remote of Stats of a Storm had been a project of the past. It's not supported anymore as of the day of this recording. So Stats of a Storm is currently the only one which is working. So you go to Stats of a Storm, you go to the folder of the relevant data for your casting, for example NGS Season 12. Pick that folder and you hit Load Data. And then it should say down here what it just said here: set collection to all matches, Stats of a Storm, data source. Alright. So you can go and select your division here. I think that on the one side makes loading times a little bit quicker, but also makes sure that you only get information out of the division you're currently playing in. So now let's go and pre-populate our information. For example, we can go into Division E West, and we should here be in E West as well. Let's go to round 2, and let's pick a game between the A team and 210 Black Men. You hit load, and now, as we know from previous episodes, it's going to populate a lot of information about this game from the Nexus Gaming Series homepage. So you see here there's all the different names in here, the player pool. If you go on the tournament, we will have the standings here. If you go on the match, well, nothing's pre-populated here. This is something you have to put in yourself. But here we have the names of both teams showing up, so that you can do the player pop-up thing we talked about before. And here we have stats, and this is showing currently not much. And in your case, it will probably not even show this part down here. It will only show this part. So I'm going to demonstrate to you how this works. So first of all, let's check what happens if we toggle this visibility here. So here's our canvas on the background. And if you check visibility, you see there's this ticker popping up here, right? It's currently not showing anything because we did not specify what kind of stats we want to show, but this would be in your draft screen. So we are currently in the draft scene here. So we have here 210 Black Men on the blue and VA team in the red. But popping that one up is a good sign that you have set up correctly. I'm gonna toggle visibility off for a short second here. So let's say that a player named tudy on the side of VA team has selected Kalfars as their hero to play. So you can type here Kalfars. If you go for the stat set overall hero pick ban win, and you select the player who picked that hero, you can now go and press the easy button and maybe put it on the red team, because that's a red team player. And if you click on easy button, it will load. The first one will load quite a bit, but the second one will be much faster. Okay, so the first one, you might want to go and actually start loading this already when the first bans happen. Maybe you can make a statement there. But so something popped up here in the background and immediately disappeared. So you can set how long these things show with the duration setting here. So I'm gonna put it a little bit longer so that you can actually see what's happening there. So if I now press it again, it should be faster, and we will have a look here on the canvas what's actually being displayed. So you have Calfas, Ranged Assassin, pick rate 11%, win rate 64%, ban rate 16%. Right. So that is the overall hero statistics about Calfas. So this is not 2D Monsters Calfas. This is just the division's pick, ban, win rate, and it's the whole division because we picked E-West. We could have picked this to any other division or to all matches, and then it would show different numbers. But let's keep it as it is. And now let's see, okay, what if we actually have the specific player on this hero? Then we would go to player hero, record KDA, and the so-called wildcard stat. So the wildcard stat we can define here. What could be, for example, what's good for assassins would be kills, right? So you can display the stats of Tudimos on Calfas. And let's have a look at that. It will again load a little bit. But if you're going into our canvas, so you click it and you keep talking about your draft, and eventually it will pop up here for your viewers to see. Oh, there is no data available. I thought I played it last season, but okay. Let's pick something else. That's interesting. Is it from this season for whatever reason? Maybe it's only grabbing data for this season. No. Oh, I'm in the wrong. Okay, so this is a bit confusing because last season I was actually in Division E East, and this season I'm in Division E West. So I am a bad example for how to use this. So let's actually go and pick some other player. Let's go and have Harkin on Greymane. That's probably a hero he played last season. So let's have a look at that. And here we are. So now we see that Harkin on Greymane has a record of 2-1, has a KDA of 216, and got 2 kills. Alright. So that is from season 12. So this gives you a little bit extra information about that specific player on that specific hero. Let's have another example here. Say you want to just talk about a player and not so much about a specific hero they played. And let's again go. Let's maybe stick with someone else here. Let's go with who are we playing here? What is our match? Team. The A team versus Blackman Street. So it should actually show these names. So I think I don't know who the tank is. I think Eloido is a tank. So let's copy that name over here. And the hero doesn't matter really. So now you have the KDA as before, the win percentage, and the wildcard stat. So let's go with how often that player died. Deaths. It's kind of in KDA already. Let's not take that one. I don't know. Where is damage taken? That's a good stat for a tank player. So, and then if you, I think they are on the blue trunks, so let's go here, and then we see Loido, oh it's Loido, okay, is with a KDA of 3 to 10, has a win rate of 58%, and has an average of 40,000 damage taken in a game. So you can display this kind of statistics. I think unless you have like a specific reason to go into a specific player. I personally think the overall hero pick ban and popularity, this kind of stuff, I think that is more interesting really. So you show like, okay, like how popular is this hero in this division, right? What is the win rate of this hero in this division? What's its average KDA? I don't know about the KDA, but you can go with that one. You can also just go with pick ban win. So if you show that one, you have here Greymane is being picked up 18%, has a win rate of 39%, and is only banned 4% of all the games in Division E West last season. Right, so you can give a feeling here for how contested is that hero. Another one would be, I think Johanna was probably be pretty contested last season. So you have here a pick rate of almost 50%, a win rate of almost 50%, and a ban rate of 16%. So Johanna obviously a pretty big factor in every draft in this division, at least for the last season. And you can get data for the current season as well. So I'm just using this as an example. So that is one way how we can use Stats of a Storm here. And if you don't like this disappearing all the time, you can just toggle this I, and it will just stay there. After it has displayed, it will the ticker itself will remain, and that might be nice too, right? So now you have every viewer who comes in late knows that this is NGS season 13, that is the division E West. Oh, it did go away still. I guess because I clicked the easy button here. If you just hit run or load run, then it should remain. So the easy button is show the ticker, load the data, display the data, stop displaying the data, and then hide the ticker itself, right? So that is what the easy button is doing, all in sequence. But if you like having this thing open all the time, you can just go and click load run or run. So if you're interested, for example, in SotS participation in last season's games, we see it's very, very rarely picked, but if it is picked, it wins, right? And it's actually banned more often than picked. So obviously targeted bans here. Alright, so that is one version of how to use that. I'm going to show you another way on how to use this thing. And then we're going to talk about how to set it up in OBS. So let's go to the post-game screen here, and let's get rid of the beer cam. Oops, not the beer cam. Of the Duocaster camera, wherever it is. Here it is. Okay, so here's another option how you can use this. So say you are in the interview screen. So this is not your co-caster setup here. So here we would have your winner, or maybe it's even the player you are interviewing. So let's say I'm interviewing Harkin, right, from the A team. So I update this as soon as the interview starts. I update this, say, hey, this is Harkin. And now what I can do is I can put in a player profile overlay in here. And currently this is empty, but I have in the stats, I can go down here, there's these player profiles. And unless you have this actually active in your OBS, this will be empty for you. But as soon as you have this overlay in your OBS, this will appear. It's kind of magic, but it is what it is. So Harkin is an assassin player, so you would go in here and pick Harkin. And you can go and also select the team. So he's in the red team in this case. And you go load and run. And now we are seeing here the stats of Harkin. So he plays obviously a lot of Kerrigan, Tigers, and Greymane. He has a win rate of 50%, and so on and so forth. So you have a little bit of information, and it's also displaying the team logo here in the top right. So we're going to talk about that, how to set that up too. So that is pretty neat for your interview. Obviously, you have to be a little bit quick on your buttons. So if you're like changing to the scene, you probably want to start. Oops, I should really not click that one. You should start in kind of this mode here. Alright, so it will probably set up something like this. So this is how you start your interview, and while you are performing your interview, you can. So this would be like really the empty state. So this is where you start your interview, and while you are doing your interview, like you wait for the other person to come in. The first thing you do is you just select the team logo who is actually won, and as soon as you know, you can then type in here the name of the person you are actually interviewing. You might even copy paste it from down here out of this list to make sure that you get the spelling right. Just copy it in here, update that. So now we are one step closer, and then go to stats while you're performing your interview. Maybe while the player is answering a question, you can copy paste that name in here. Select the right team logo, select the right role if you remember from the game, and then you just hit load run, and you go back into your OBS and you just activate the player profile overlay, and now this appears, and now you're fully set and you can continue your interview. So that would be my way of getting all this information in here. Okay. So now I have talked a lot already about how we can use this. Now let's see what we actually have to do in our casting setup to make this happen. Alright, so here we are in our draft scene from previous episodes, and now let's see what we have to add here. So it's gonna be a browser source. We're gonna call it stats overlay. That's already in use. Oh, it's over here in that scene. Okay, let's do player stats overlay then. That's an okay name. Alright, it's gonna be a local file, and you know it, it's gonna be in our OBS source folder. And here we have an HTML called stat lower third. So we take that one, put in our resolution as usual, put in the refresh browser, and hit OK. So now it will not show anything in the beginning. Just lock it and get rid of your ticker overlay. And now if we go into Soothsayer and try it out, over hero, pick ban win, Aberfur, let's see. First of all, check visibility to see if it appears at all. If that is the case, you are set, and you can hit the easy button and you should see this popping up. So this is everything you need to do for your draft scene. Now let's have a look. And of course you can use this anywhere you want, but in the draft scene I think it's the best place to do so. Now let's go to our post-game scene. So currently we are set up for displaying the team logos, one of the two. What we want to do is we want to now set up that player profile scene instead. So what we do is, and by the way, if you go to Soothsayer, see like now my player profiles down here are actually empty because it's not in use. So now we can go to browser, to a browser source, and go player profile overlay. Hit OK. Local file, and here you go and select HotS player profile.html 1920 by 1080. Refresh browser when scene becomes active. Hit OK. And now it covers everything, of course. But let's have a look at this while it is there. So now you see in player profiles it actually appeared here because we are now actually tapping into the source, and Soothsayer recognizes that. So let's say we have Asterix, who we want to interview, and he's in the blue team, and we hit load and run, and when Asterix appears. Actually, probably not an assassin, probably a healer. So let's go and switch this to healer. And it shows healing here instead. And of course that influences also the stats which are being shown. Okay, so that would be one way to do it actually. If you're fine with that thing, like blocking everything out during your interview, then that's totally fine. But what if you want to have your own logo on it and you want to have this frame here, then you need to go and rescale that a bit. So now you have it depends, like what we are doing here depends a little bit on what kind of frame you're using. Like this is the SD camera frame, so that is in an aspect ratio of 4:3, right? So that's almost quadratic here in this frame, and that scene here is in our widescreen format, 1920 to 1080. So that's not particularly good. So what we can do is we can actually, and let me bring this up to the top. So this is the scene, and it's going to be pretty hard squeezing that one into this almost square frame over here because it is so widescreen, right? So what we're going to do is we can actually just change that ratio to 800 to 600. And now that's better. But you see it's a little bit crowded here. So let's change it actually to 1200 to 800. And that's fine, right? That's something we can work with. So the scene is made for being displayed full screen. So, but we don't need that. Like if you put it into this frame, we don't need that. We can actually go and cut off, for example, NGS Season 13 West Division. So if we hold down the Alt button, we can crop this to the information which is relevant to us, which is in here. And now we can move this thing into our frame. So we bring it down behind the duocast pregame frame, and we just gonna squeeze it in here. So you can have something like this. Obviously the numbers are missing over here, so let's squeeze it a little bit more. But now you have this black border down here, so you can just hit Alt key again and give it a little bit of the starry background back. Maybe you don't want that thing below there. Put a little bit of starry background on the top as well, and you have something which looks like this. And I think that's fine, right? So now you have that in here, and let's have another look at this. You probably want to bring down the red team logo close to the player's profile overlay and put the player's profile overlay above the team logos. Blue team is usually going first, so lock this. And now if you are preparing your interview, you can go and display the logo first until you are ready here in Soothsayer and have put this information in and have the load and run, and then you can overlay this with more information. It's not working anymore. Oh, we got rid of the player information somehow. Team logo blue. So now, once you have put in the information here. Okay, so if you are making this invisible, it should still work. Okay, I don't know what happened there, but you can now just activate this. I know what's going on. Okay, so for this one, you actually want to untick refresh browser when Steam becomes active. You don't want to refresh it. I think that's the issue here. So let's try it out. So we have Asterix on Team Blue, who is a healer. We load and run. And now it works. Right, so now you can just put that on top of the team logo, which you had been displaying before. And of course you would update this here down properly. So because the name is gonna display it anyways, you might even have this just on winner or whatever you want to write there. Okay, so that is a second way how to use Stats of the Storm plugin of Soothsayer in your cast, and I hope you enjoy doing this in your future casting. So let me have a quick look at where we are going from here. The next one is going to be about themes and theme overrides, so hopefully see you there.